Hi, my name is Wilhelmina Carter Rush, and this is A Mother's Story. I am also here to expose the so-called ministry of Apostle J.F. Clay, currently running a ministry at 6801 Two Notch Road in Columbia, South Carolina. I have heard and seen him lie on trial in a court of law under oath and about physically abusing my grandchildren when they were with my daughter, their mother, in this ministry, now known and expressed by ex-members as a mind-controlled cult. My grandchildren are now in my custody because Clay had their mother, who was also on trial, lie along with him in the courtroom. They were given to me with no contact whatsoever from their mother because the judge found that she and the apostle were lying about the abuse of the children, and she was protecting the ministry and covering up for the apostle. And to this day, for this, she blames me. My daughter remains in this cult because in a letter that she wrote to me, she blames her children for not wanting to return to the ministry after what they endured mentally and physically, and knowing that their mother and the minister they once trusted lied about what happened to them. Almost 9 years ago, her best friend and her best friend's husband indoctrinated her into what is now known as the Sacred Name Movement. We had contact for a while, and eventually she and the boys came home to be in my wedding. It was after that time that they began to seemingly get more controlling, the cult did. She never seemed to have any money, and for a while I was helping her with utilities, clothes, and other items for the children. We stopped sending cash because we found out in court most of her money and income taxes went to the ministry. About 4.5 years ago, in March of 2007, I began to get a phone call, or several phone calls, from my oldest grandson that he was going to get another whipping, and that the apostle was reminding my daughter about this over the pulpit, and that the apostle hadn't forgotten about it. Each time he called, I tried to convince him to tell his mother, but he said she already knew about it. I said, well, I could talk to her, but he said if I did, that she would tell Apostle, and that would make things worse. Well, his last call really concerned me, and I know at one time she felt that he would try to do anything to come back to Illinois, which is where we live. But this one really concerned me, and I couldn't convince him to tell his mom, so I told him he had to tell someone. Well, a week or so later, the counselor at school called me and told me that my grandson was in her office and that he had told her his story about fear of getting a whipping. He was pulled out of the home, and my sister and I flew down immediately to Mississippi to see what was going on. After hearing his story and finding that he had 2 younger brothers in the home, DCFS pulled them out. They pulled them out of school, and they began to question the 2 younger boys. They were afraid to talk at first because they were afraid. It took a while, but then they were convinced that they wouldn't have to go back to the group, and they began to tell their story of things that they saw. And the one night that the adults got a whipping, and they even had to whip their own mother. And there was other stories that went on that were really just something you wouldn't want your kids to have to witness or be involved in. Well, it was decided to keep the boys in a children's home while a two-week investigation occurred. My sister, my son, the boy's father, and I went back for the trial. As I mentioned before, Apostle and my daughter, after trying to use psych reports and school discipline infractions, tried to discredit the children to make it seem like they were really bad kids and that the whippings that they were getting were deserved and were not as harsh as they said. But my daughter and Jeff Clay lied about the paddle and the stick that was brought into the court as evidence. Apostle lied about ever whipping any of the children, and my daughter supported the apostle. It was then decided to remove the children because of mental and physical abuse, according to the judge. And the sad part was that there were still other children left behind who belonged to other cult members. Since then, March of 2007, the children have not heard from their mother. And even when my daughter's father passed away and her grandmother recently, we tried to contact her, but to no avail. I even sent the Columbia, South Carolina Police Department to inform her that her father had passed. And they came back and told me that, or when I called, they told me that she had been, she wasn't there when they went to give her the information, but she never called. Never heard from her. Recently, we went down to visit. Actually, it was last month, in August. We went to visit, thinking that we would just surprise her. We had heard that she had been talking about her children. So I took the children and we went to hope she would have a change of heart and would like to see them. That was not a good visit. In the end, we ended up seeing her for maybe all of 20 minutes after a 13-hour ride down and a 13-hour ride back. Once she told Apostle that we were in the area, he had her to take a restraining order out on me, her mother. Now, this is an apostle, a minister, who has shown all the signs of a mind control cult, controlling the people and their environment, manipulating and using people, and instilling fear in them if they disobey and or leave. When we went to get the children on our way back, as we were on our way to the airport, my daughter was calling me, threatening us and telling us things that were going to happen because of what we had done. Now, this is someone who would have never, in her wildest dreams, I would have never imagined her personality changing to the point that she did not even want to see her children when we went down. Never calls to find out anything at home. And this is the work of this man. This is the man that is supposed to be a quote unquote minister. He said that when my grandchildren left, that they would end up coming back here, being in gangs. The oldest one would have a baby, and I guess all kind of things were supposed to happen to them. Well, they've been wonderful children. We have had no problems with them. They're 16, 17, and 21. They're juniors and seniors. They get very good grades in school. I have never had to go up to school, look for them, wait for them late to come in late at night. The 21-year-old is still he's in his second year in college. So what is that all about, Apostle? Well, my daughter was recently married by Clay to the ex-husband of her best friend who indoctrinated her. And this husband at the time was along with her, indoctrinating her into this ministry. This past August, when we went to see them, she told me that I would die. She just really acted like, well, I really don't want to really say too much because she kind of takes it personally and thinks that I did this purposely, which I would never have taken her children. I was recently married again when the children came with me. So why would I want to take, three almost grown children, not quite grown, but teenagers. But I love my grandchildren. I would have never left them in a predicament like that. Well, that's my story in a nutshell. Recently, an ex-member by the name of Flossie Lewis, who you can look up, just told her story. And I am just confirming that she's telling the truth. I have here in my person the court order that I was given by the judge. And I also can say that any of this can be confirmed by the state of Mississippi, DHS department in Warren County of Jackson, Mississippi. That's where the trial initially began. The Warren County Sheriff's Department can confirm, and also the Columbia, South Carolina Police Department, which is where I went to confirm that as we left my daughter's job after going to see her, she was told by the apostle to go and take a restraining order out on me. So I just wanted to tell my story, and that there are ministries like that out there. And I would have never in my wildest dreams
believed?
As I was saying, I never in my wildest dreams thought or believed that it would be 9 years, and I'm still waiting for something to occur where this man would no longer be able to lie, manipulate, and deceive people as he is doing. So, my purpose was to expose him for the person that he really is: a liar, a deceiver, a manipulator. Thank you.